Welcome back to Obsessors to another video where, as you can see from the title, we'll be looking at which is the best spin racket. Now I've narrowed it down to the Extreme Pro, the Gravity Tour, the VCore 98 and the Aero 98. Let's see which is the best one.
Let's kick off this video with the pure Aero 98, strung with the Qualia Torque Squared 125 in the mains and the Glide 125 in the crosses. I compared this racket to the Pure Strike 98, so go check out that to see it compared to a different type of racket. Going straight onto the ground strokes, with the racket being headlight and the use of the spin grommets, the racket has amazing spin potential. The Aero has a really good ability to not only hit with crazy amounts of spin, but it can also hit flat as well. This is due to the string pattern being slightly tighter in the centre than most other spin rackets. Along with great spin, gives a lot of power as well due to the low swing weight. This makes it easy to swing through the air, and the high stiffness of the racket with an RA rating of 70 gave it extra stability, which was especially crucial on the one-handed backhand. Alongside power and spin, the racket also had good feel, which makes the shots easy to direct as I can feel the ball on the strings. One issue I will say is that because it's so whippy through the air, it felt that sometimes you can swing too hard and hit slightly off centre and miss the sweet spot. This isn't an easy racket to use, it requires good technique and focus in order to play well with it, but if you're playing well, you can get a lot out of the racket. Moving on to volleys, the high stiffness gave it good control, but because of how headlight it is, means the volleys aren't as easy to hit. But once again, with right technique, you can not only take power out of hard shots, but also punch volleys away. It just can be quite difficult if you don't hit in the centre, as it can buckle in your hand. Moving on to the serves. The Aero provides great power due to the whip increasing the head speed when coming up to the ball and making it easier to pronate as well. Once again, you have to make sure your timing is on point, because if you hit slightly off the centre on the serve, then it can go wrong. But the kick and slice serves with the racket are amazing. Extra headlight means a lot more brush up on the ball for the kick. If you want to try any of the Qualia strings used in this video, then go to qualiasport.com and use the discount code OBSESSED at checkout for 20% off. Next up, the VCore 98, strung with Solinco Hyper-G round 125 at £50. I did a video where I compared the best current Yonex rackets, which of course features this, so go check out that video as well. When you want all-out spin, then the VCore should be a racket you look at. The spin you get with this is just crazy. Balls landing in when they look like they're going to hit the back fence. But with such crazy spin comes its disadvantages. With such an open string bed, trying to hit flat with this racket proved very difficult. And it also made the racket a little wild, with the occasional ball flying out when I felt that I hit it right. It has a good amount of power. With a swing weight of 318, it feels solid through the air but still easy to swing and is very stable in the hand. This felt really good on the one-handed backhand. The sweet spot felt slightly bigger than the pure Aero 98, meaning you have more margin for error, which we all love. It has slightly less power, but it isn't an underpowered racket at all. With the open string bed, the feel the racket gets is amazing, allowing for good directional shots and making slices really easy to hit. Alongside all of this, it is really comfortable to play with. It has a stiffness rating of 66, but I'd say it feels lower, meaning joint issues should never be a problem. Every time I pick up the VCore, I am always impressed by how good the volume is. The control of them is just amazing. The ability to absorb the power out of hard shots and redirect them is top notch. I feel it is a severely underrated racket when it comes to volleying. Serving is pretty solid, good amounts of power, and the kick and slice serves are deadly because of how much spin the racket provides. But if you want to hit a hard, flat serve, then it can be a little more tricky than when using something like the Aero, as the launch angle is higher and the open string bed makes it more difficult. Moving on to the Extreme Pro, strung with torque squared 125 in the mains at £50 and the glide 125 in the crosses at £48. Hitting ground strokes with this racket was very up and down. For a racket made to give you loads of spin, I will say it's not easy to get. The launch angle of the racket is really low, so you still have to get under the ball a lot, but when you do, the spin is there. It did feel quite underpowered as well, until I put some weight in the head, and then the power did increase, but it still wasn't too high. But its flat hitting, as you can imagine, is really good. Because of the low launch angle, you can hit flat through the ball and it can be dangerous. Although, it can twist in the hand quite easily as it's not that stable. This racket doesn't have amazing feel either. Trying to direct the ball proved difficult at times. But if you have a one-handed backhand, then this is probably one of the best rackets to use. I felt that my backhand was my best shot with this racket. That shot there shows how low the launch angle is, considering it's a spinny racket. I didn't get under the ball enough and it planted straight in the net, although I feel like if I was using the Aero or the VCore, then it might have landed in. Like with the ground strokes, volleys were up and down as well. The racket was decent at blocking volleys, but only when I hit the centre. And I was slightly off, I did feel it could buckle in my hand at any point. It wasn't great at hitting volleys back with power, but it was able to tame them somewhat. So you win some, you lose some. I don't think my serve has ever been as fast as when I was serving with this. For an underpowered racket, the serve speed is really quick and consistent as well. I felt the way the racket moves through the air complemented my serve technique perfectly. Good at slice serves, but not so good at kicks. But with the power you get, you feel like you just want to hit 2 first serves. It just gives you that much confidence. I came back a second day to see if it was just a fluke, and if anything, it was faster, proving this racket is great on a serve. Finally, the Gravity Tour, strung with Qualia Torque 125 in the mains at £50 and the Glide 125 in the crosses at £48. Check out my other video where I review this racket individually. When I said at the beginning of the video that the Aero was headlight, it is not to the extent of the Gravity Tour. Because of how headlight the racket gets a lot of spin, as it's really easy to come up and over the ball. But you do have to swing hard a lot of the time to get the power, but when you do, it is extremely rewarding. Alongside being whippy, the string bed is really open, adding to the spin and power that the racket gets. Hitting flat proved difficult at times because of the open string bed. But even hitting with a slight bit of spin often had the ball dropping in with the high launch angle that the racket gives. It wasn't the best on the one-handed backhand because of how headlight it was. The stiffness slightly made up for it, but not enough, so I would rank at the lowest on this list for a one-handed backhand. The volleys with this racket are surprisingly solid, even though it has an open string bed and is really headlight. The stiffness of the racket did help control volleys, and the racket had good feel, so I was able to direct them nicely. Finally, onto the serves. As you can imagine, the serves with this racket were very powerful. There were, at times, lack of direction on them because of the lack of control, but for the power you get, then I think it's worth the sacrifice. With the high amounts of spin and the ease of being able to brush up on the ball, the kick serves were also very good. Honourable mentions for this video would be rackets such as the Wilson Shift, Technofiber T-Fight 300S and the Dunlop SX300. These rackets aren't in this video as I have based it off of the 4 most popular and current best-selling spin rackets. If you want to see a review of the T-Fight 300S, then check out my channel for a comparison between the two T-Fights. Now, let's rank the rackets based off of everything, like spin, power, control, volleys, etc. I do want to point out that this is my personal opinion with the ranking. Coming in at 4th, the Gravity Tour. I think when you look at every aspect of the game, this racket doesn't tick all of the boxes. I'd say it has better spin than the Extreme Pro and the Aero, but slightly less than the VCore, and it's not able to hit flat like the Aero or the Extreme can. Getting the bronze medal spot is the Extreme Pro. I think the lack of power and feel does drop it down in the list. Its flat hitting ability as well as spin is the reason it does rank higher than the Gravity though. Second place is given to the VCore. If you want all out spin and don't hit flat, then the VCore could take top spot for you. It has good power, control and feel alongside being comfortable to use. Its biggest letdown is you can't hit flat with it and it can be wild. And of course, the winner is the Pure Aero 98, a very all-round racket. Of course it shines best with top spin, but it can hit flat with great power and control. It's probably the most difficult racket to use, hence the fact it's not for everyone. If you have good technique and are playing on point, then you'll probably get the best out of this racket. It can be slightly stiff, but with the right strings, it can be softened up.
As always, thank you so much for watching the video. If you want to see any one of these rackets reviewed individually, then let me know in the comments down below and I'll be sure to get onto that. And while you're down there, I'd really appreciate a like and subscribe as well. It does really help the channel out, and I will see you in the next one.